back, everyone. This month we are focusing in on the vessel. We're looking at oak, and we're actually very excited to bring this to you. And you know, I'm a little bit sore, I'm a little bit tired because yesterday these guys arrived in a container, 6 a.m. Yours truly was unpacking.
And it was raining and it was cold.
It was rubbish.
This is the dedication that we have, people.
But passion.
This one, 6 a.m.
got me through it.
Got it through. And a few coffees.
And a few coffees. So we're looking at two wonderful producers have been sourced exclusively for you guys. Alfred Gratien, for example, has been in the country for well over 3, maybe 4 years.
Yeah.
So they're back in town. We're going to talk all about them. And Yves Ruffin is a gorgeous, tiny little organic producer in Avenue Val d'Or. So we're going to get into them as well.
What have they got in common?
So oak, the vessel, how they put things together.
We're talking about the vessel. We're talking about how they're aged and the influence on the wines.
So first up, our producer for all of you lovers and connoisseurs is Champagne Yves Ruffin.
Now you are going to have to guide me into the story of this house because I've never seen them before.
Come.
I don't know them.
I'll show you.
I'm excited to taste the wines. You tasted the wine and you were like, yeah, man, this is so good. But tell me more. I don't know anything about them. Give me the story.
They went against the trend. In 1971, so Yves Ruffin, whose name appears on the label, was one of the founders. He went against the grain in 1971 and set up his vineyards, but farmed them organically. And on the back label, you can see it's certified organic.
Yeah, and we're talking like 70s. 70s was all about yield. 70s was all about output.
It was about dumping rubbish from Paris, doing all the stuff that everyone else was doing. He was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going back to stripping things clean, starting fresh, and putting in things that are only natural into my vineyard.
So you've got a really good period of time where they've had time to experiment and get the vineyard viticulture systems right to be, and they're certified now.
They have been since 71.
As
so yeah, absolutely.
As organic.
So Yves Ruffin was very staunch on this. He believed that this was the way to go forward. They're based in a little village called Avenue Val d'Or, which is very romantic and pretty. It's right next door to Mareuil-sur-Aille, which is our very famous neighbors. Bill Cassamon, Philippe Onat, Marc Hebrat. They're in that pocket of greatness. They've also got a little bit of holdings in Tuxier, which is these are two Premier Cru classified vineyards.
So you've got Premier Cru vineyard sites.
Yes.
How big are the vineyards?
Pinot Noir. They're just in total, their land area is only 3 hectares. So it's very small, but if you work it out, it's sort of like 10 to maybe 12,000 bottles per hectare per year. So it's sub 40,000 bottles a year in terms of production.
And who's in charge of the winemaking now?
So his son in 2008, took over, and in 2008, he unfortunately passed away. His wife, Sylvie Ruffin, came into the picture, great sort of year, but sad year, but from a harvest point of view, and she continued the tradition, continued the trend that began from the very beginning.
Well done, Sylvie.
And so what we're seeing is this sort of wonderful continuation or elaboration of the wines. They only make a few. She's got a vintage, an extra brut, a brut, and it's very small, beautiful production. So I'm really excited to have them here. There's not much information out there in the world for this particular producer, so
they're all spoken for.
We're going to get you right into it. So the wine I chose for you all this month is the Extra Brut. Okay. Normally we have a taste. It's a blend of 80% Chardonnay and 20% Pinot Noir. This is the usual blend, and if you look it up, you'll find a few tasting notes around, but that's what they say. This particular year, when they made it, they had real issues with frosts. particularly for Chardonnay. So they had to cut down the Chardonnay amount by 30%.
Gorgeous.
And put the remainder as Pinot Noir. So it's actually a 50-50 blend. That hasn't happened before. So I wrote to Sylvie, and in fact,
gorgeous wine.
It's beautiful wine. And on your data cards was her response in the tasting note. And in that she said, look, you know, we had real issues. What you have is a blend of 50-50 Chardonnay, but they dropped the dosage down to 2 grams instead of 4 to maintain this sort of fresh, crisp, beautiful,
you can
bright
see it.
wine. So I was very impressed with this. But the wood, the oak that's in this is acacia. Have you ever come across that before?
No, I mean, you know, vignerons in Champagne like to source from as close to their region as possible. They're either getting barrels that are produced from local forests, or they're bringing across barrels that have been previously used in Burgundy, Chablis barrels.
Yep. Or in their local forests.
In the local forest,
Argonne,
exactly right. So
Fossil.
quite unusual to see an acacia barrel.
Yeah.
But the wood integration in this wine is very delicate. It's very soft. It's almost imperceivable.
And I like that you said that, because in an interview with Peter Liem, who's a great wine critic, and do search him out, he's an amazing guy. He's actually lived in Champagne. He asked Yves why he uses acacia. He said, look, acacia's tannins are nowhere near as aggressive or as potent as that of normal oak. So I use it because I love the incorporation of air and that oxygen into the wine, but without that sort of tannin-y effect.
I'm a little bit captivated by this wine. I've just had my first sip. Presence for me, the acidity was present. There's no doubt about it. It wasn't bracing, but it was present. But the balance of the wine, but there's a delicateness, a softness, but the staying power, the memory, the palate impression of that wine is still with me seconds after I put that in my mouth.
It's beautifully made.
It's a beautiful wine.
That is so nice. That is a beautiful champagne.
Sensational.
At room temp, you know it's good. You want me to pour?
It's an absolutely beautiful wine. What base year are we talking of the
From memory,
grapes?
it's a 2014, 2015 sort of blend of
you've
reserve
got a
wines.
Classic champagne year in 2014 and a really warm year in 2015. So you've got some brightness, but hallmark classic acidity in the 2014.
Yeah. And I'll double check. All your notes will be on the monthly EDM that goes out.
What a great wine.
It's really sensational. So very happy to be presenting that to you this month.
Well done, good choice.
Thank you.
And the champagne that we are presenting with Yves Ruffin this month is Alfred Gratien. Wow,
Tell me about the producer. Tell me about who's Alfred Gratien.
Well, you know, we've always had a soft spot for Alfred Gratien wines.
I like his wines.
And actually, some of our customers do too.
Yeah.
You know, to the point that customers will regularly check in with us to see what supplies we have. We've got customers who really appreciate the style of Alfred Gratien, and I think that this is important because Alfred Gratien really do dance to the beat of their own drum.
Yeah, well, they're artisans at the core.
They are artisans at the core, and they're handmade wines. And you know, we've got a house that dates back to 1864. They're still family run. You've got Nicholas Jaeger, who's the winemaker, who's fourth generation now in charge of the winemaking. But they've kept with tradition, and I love that about the house.
Yeah.
And when we talk about vessel, we're looking here at a 225 litre barrique. So to give you guys some context, you've got Fouderas, which can be quite big. 225 is a small barrel.
It's 225, 228.
225.
225.
It's a 225.
It's 225.
228 in some other vineyards, but a 225 here. It's coming from Burgundy. It's been used for Chablis 4 times over, so it's been seasoned, as we say, and then it comes across from Burgundy and into the cellars of Alfred Gratien. And all of the wines are being aged in barrel. The barrel allows the wine to breathe, but it also strengthens the wine and gives the wine some power and some body. But what else is happening in the wines of Alfred Gratien is that they're holding back malolactic fermentation. So you've got this epic sort of balance between barrel power
and
oxygen. Acid drive.
Yeah.
You know, so you really are sort of, it's an interesting mix, and I love that.
For that, that's really the use of winemaking techniques, nature, creating the balance with what you have rather than trying to force it. Blocking malo keeps that freshness, and adding oxygen adds richness. So you're sort of layering the wine, and I really love it.
The other thing that's quite unique about the house is that they're aging under cork. All of these things take time and money. Barrel takes time and money. Blocking malo, longer aging periods, and you can see that they've had a graph, a staple. We'll put that in the video for you so you can see the staple over the top of the bottle. It's all of these things are handmade qualities of a house who are absolutely staunch, to use your word, on their style of craftsmanship. So,
I love it.
So good to see Alfred Gratien back in Australia. And the champagne that's coming to everybody this month, what a treat.
Or to our connoisseurs.
Wood to the connoisseurs, yes, is the Millésime. So we've got the vintage for you this month, so very special wine. We have the 2009 vintage. So 2009, very dry winter, nice spring, a little bit of rain in August, July, and then August, for the most part, quite dry, so making sure that there was not too much rot and too much damage, and then a nice even harvest. So, you know, some issues, but not overly problematic, not as bad as other years have been. What I found unusual with the 2009 vintage and with the vintages coming from Alfred Gratien is that they've got a percentage of Pinot Meunier, of Meunier added into the blend. So 64 Chardonnay,
that's right,
25 Pinot, and the balance being Meunier, which is quite unusual.
They look, I think they follow in the footsteps of, you know,
is
the fruit of good quality,
and they're mainly Grand Cru.
Is it coming from some of the best sites that produce Meunier, as well as the Chardonnay and Pinot?
Yeah.
Does it add to my overall experience of the wine? Yes. So there is a really interesting point that we touched on just a moment ago when we talked about the house, which is why it's aged under cork and not under crown seal.
Yeah.
And Nicholas Jaeger's father, who was making the wines, decided one year to swap from aging under cork into crown seal, and he said the wines were just not recognizable. They were completely different wines because they age them for such a long time. This is about 10 years on the cellar.
It's 10 and a half years in the cellar for this wine. So
10 and a half years with age under cork, that's a considerable amount of oxygen over a long period of time. You know, crown seals just can't do that.
But can I please say to everybody, when you're drinking this at home, please observe the characteristics of the wine. I want you to start to recognize what winemaking techniques lead to what attributes in your glass. So in this wine, you've got oak presence, 225 pre-seasoned barriques from Burgundy. You have no malolactic fermentation, so instantly you're going to feel a present searing acidity, then the wine will settle down in your glass. For me, there was this abundance of flavour. We drank the wine at room temperature, note to self. Do not have these wines too cold. Really bright citrus, lime, bounding out the glass, and lemon. Then settle down into your more lemon curd, you know, biscuity notes, but really an abundance of power and flavour.
Very soft and creamy.
It
style, and I really liked it. Yes, there's that lovely tartness, but it was really creamy and silky.
Yeah, soft on the
mousse.
palate. Have you got it in your glass?
No, this is the Yves Ruffin. I keep coming back to it, and there's so much going on in that. I'll tell you all about it in my tasting notes.
Two very powerful wines. Two wines that are being used with barrel, with a vessel. We've got Acacia, and here we've got 225s.
So we've reached the end of this month's edition, and what an exciting edition it was for you and for us. Now, there was some really interesting things that were happening here. We went from what winemakers would normally use, which is sort of stainless steel and fresh, to oak, to larger oak barrels, smaller oak barrels, different types of oak. We didn't really touch on sort of clay and things like that, but there are
other options available.
And there's some things happening, especially with Thailand down in the south.
Experimentation.
Some interesting things. So we really want you to look at how vessels do change wines. You know, stainless steel champagne is really fresh and beautiful and clean, and very different to what we're having here. And when you start to get your, references for each one, you'll be guided to them. Bollinger, for example, is all about oak. Krug, lots of oak. And then there's some that are really great with balancing both.
Because, you know me, I get a bit cranky when oak interferes with the wine. I don't like it when there's too much oak, but in both examples here, you've got a beautifully integrated wine. Oak plays its part. Oak allows the wine to breathe, it opens up the wine, and it gives you a power, a structure, and a body, which is different, which is unique from presenting a wine in stainless steel.
And it's great with foods, like really explore your foods. Certain things that are grilled or, or seared or have butter or...
These are food wines.
Yeah, they're definitely
Both
food
of them.
wines, so have a play with those as well.
We hope that you enjoyed the wines this month. I loved seeing Alfred Gratien and a Melissa May with 10 years. It's such a treat to have a wine like that in the club.
The Brut is back. The Blanc de Blanc 2015 is back, and also got the Rosé in Magnum. So jump on the store, have a look, get involved.
Awesome to see Yves Ruffin in the country, a beautiful micro producer. I think I can use that word. A family artisanal producer with oodles of passion. That wine's absolutely fantastic. Kiri, thank you for presenting another amazing lineup of champagnes this month.
Thank you.
Please do not hesitate if you want to write, ring, call us, hit the socials. Keep up your champagne knowledge, keep up your champagne passion, and we look forward to seeing you either at the next event with us or back online next month. Bye for now.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for another club round. Now we should do another one.
Feeling wiggle wiggle.
I'm feeling like a lemon. Body popping, we're popping bottles. Cribs. Yeah, exactly. And now I'll take you around my house.
Okay.
6-car garage.
Okay.
It's actually 12. It's 12. Wonderful. Wunderbar. Yeah, die ist gut.
Nail it, Pierre.
It's been a long couple of days.
All right. Let's regroup and redeliver, and don't fuck it up because I've got to go out.
So this month is the most unusual month because I just...
It's
I
not.
Why is it unusual?
It's not
Why is it
unusual.
not unusual?
Okay, we're going to just get into it and we'll do it together.
Just hold on. Just let me have another crack at it. Schnell! Schnell, jawohl! Gonna need some more juice.
Juicy.
Ah!